This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Friday.
I can't believe it.
I'm so glad. It's Tori. I'm Tori, here with Lindsay and Al.
It's Tori.
It's Tori.
I mean, you weren't wrong. It was
it is you. It was a weird way to introduce myself. Well, let's get started, everyone. So we talk a lot about cancel culture, am I right, on the show? And if people can come back from being canceled and when they should be allowed back. So if you recall, we're going to go back in time. Jeffrey Toobin got in serious trouble last fall. He was on a work Zoom call when he was seen by his coworkers doing some very inappropriate things of a sexual nature. Now, as a result, he was fired from the New Yorker magazine and suspended from his job as a legal analyst on CNN. But then yesterday, he made a return to the network, and here's what he explained about the situation.
This was deeply moronic and indefensible, but I mean that is part of the story. And you know, I have spent the 7 subsequent months, miserable months in my life, I can certainly confess, trying to be a better person. I mean, in therapy, trying to do some public service, working in a food bank, which I certainly am going to continue to do.
Food bank.
I was trying to connect the dots of those two things.
So what do you think about Jeffrey's return on CNN? Should he be allowed back?
So a lot of times when we cancel people, let's say for like racist actions or whatever, there are actual steps you can take in organizations you can meet with that will teach you a little bit about educating yourself. When he says he's volunteering at a food bank, I don't know how that assists him with his issue of not knowing how to properly behave during work hours.
Thank you.
On work calls around work calls, you know.
Thank you.
So it's kind of confusing. And you guys were talking right before we went on air, like how important was he to CNN? I was thinking the same exact thing. Like, why is this so crucial? I mean, I don't know how to rectify this. Like, that was just very stupid, like he said. But come on, you're a grown man. Like, and I'm always saying somebody's grown, but like, come on, just wait.
Just wait. And if you are doing that in a work meeting, pretend it was at work. You would never be allowed back into the workplace. Why is this guy, is Toobin like that good?
I don't know if he's that good. You know, this is a lot to unpack because it seems like kind of a silly story on its front. But if it happened to somebody here, somebody behind the camera, and they got caught doing something like that, I think we would want them back because we personally like them. I think maybe viewers would be like, why don't you just go get another, you know, I don't want to say cameraman because our cameramen are there, but why don't you go? But it's like, no, that to us, that's a person.
Right.
We want them back here. We know that we know their heart. But at the same time, that you could consider that not sexual assault, but like some sexual
harassment,
something,
least,
you know, lewd exposure. So I don't know what they're opening themselves up to legally. I don't know why he doesn't get away with I'm a sex addict, because everybody pulls that card and it's worked for everybody else, so why not him? So
that's
it's
fair.
just a lot to unpack, but it's just weird that they don't get another legal analyst.
Well, here, that's the question, is like, why didn't Chris Harrison or Morgan Wallen or Ellen DeGeneres or like any of these other people get asked back, but he did?
I'm really stumped here. Like, I really am stumped. I don't know.
It's a weird thing, right?
The N-words, and when you start talking about people using the N-word, that's a word in which people have been killed while that was being shouted at them.
Absolutely.
So when you start taking it there, that's another universe. That's like the Marvel, you can't go there. There's
But Ellen's issues had something to do with, you know, well, they said that some of her staff leaders were sexually inappropriate. So, you know, that's a similar issue to compare it to, and it's just like, okay, let's just end this, we're canceling it. But I don't know how much of that was Ellen's decision also, like this is going too far, versus him maybe really wanting his job back.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a great apology. I don't know why he's back. I would have loved to have found someone else.
But and also, if you look at the leverage that Ellen has, who is a juggernaut in daytime TV, and Jeffrey Toobin, they're two different
but why
levels.
is he
But
back?
I mean, really, Ellen didn't kind of really survive it. She just, they allowed her to land her plane.
And he did survive, and I don't get it. I really don't. All right, let us know what you think. If you're getting pulled over, do you pull over right away, or do you wait until you find a very safe spot to do it? Well, that's the question after this happened. Okay, I want to watch this video with you and narrate. A state trooper in Arkansas is being sued. He was pulling over a pregnant woman for speeding, and when she didn't pull over after a few minutes, okay, we are too fast in the video, he pulled a pit maneuver, which ended up flipping her car over. The trooper said she should have pulled over right away. Meantime, she says she was waiting until an exit came because the shoulder was too narrow. So what do you think of what the trooper did? I looked up Arkansas law, and if you're uncomfortable, you're supposed to put on your hazards, let the police officer know you will pull over, and pull over when you feel comfortable. So she actually did exactly what she was supposed to do.
Besides the hazards?
She put the hazards on.
She didn't have them on.
She put the hazards on.
I was looking for that.
And
she put them on, and he pitted her.
To me, I know that I panic when the police are behind me. And like, that's a real feeling. I immediately panic, and I'm just like, okay, what to do? Because then I kind of lose my driver's control and try to figure out where I should get off or where I should go. It's happened to me before, where I'm just like, okay, let me pull over. And then I also have seen people on the highway, terrible accidents when I was a news reporter, that people didn't move over in another lane and hit somebody on the side of the road. So even as a pregnant lady right now, I can understand why she didn't want to pull over in that shoulder that did look pretty narrow. That wasn't like a huge highway. So for the officer to hit her and she followed all the rules there, I think she has a lawsuit on her hands.
I think she has a huge lawsuit. Al, what do you think?
I mean, I remember when I was growing up, there used to be those World's Wildest Police Chases and those kind of clip shows, and there would always be a police officer that either got clipped while he was talking to somebody in their window because somebody passed too quickly, or grabbed somebody out of the car, and then a car came and hit that parked car that was going 75 miles an hour on the freeway. There was nowhere to pull over. This is a pregnant woman, but also We're lucky we're just talking about a pregnant woman.
I know.
She cut across 3 lanes of highway on what looked like a bridge.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, what is who are these people?
I know.
Who makes that decision?
I know. And she does have a lawsuit actually against the police officer and the police department. I would think they need to relook at that. Just so you know, she thought she had actually lost the baby at one point. They couldn't find the heartbeat when she went to the hospital. She is okay. The baby's okay. The mom's okay. Everybody's okay. But terrifying.
But look at how that accident ended, and she was only a few months pregnant, I think 2, and so it's just like, think about the stress that she's going under trying to just figure out how to safely do this and also follow the rules. I just think this is bad policing, an example of it, and just how somebody's not protecting their citizens. Because what was he pulling over for? I mean, unless it was a high-speed gun chase.
It was like an 84 and a 70. It was like 10 or 15 miles per hour.
That's what I mean. It wasn't anything where she was running away from robbing a bank.
Exactly. There was nothing needed to do that. All right, well, 4 women had a very close call on a Texas dam. Their boat nearly went over the edge, oh my gosh, before it was spotted by a rescue crew. The life vests were lowered down to them, and another boat towed them away from the edge. Wow. Rescuers also shared this picture showing just how close they came to going over the edge. What would you do if this were you?
I'm jumping out, just trying to swim to some kind of safety. I don't know.
Lindsay, that will not work.
Well, that's where my first mind went.
It's not going to work.
Not work is an understatement. Because the saddest thing is, they'd be like, is this everybody in your boat? Be like, no, Lindsay jumped out.
She just left. I don't know why.
Why? You think that people can't swim against the current?
No, people die that way, Lindsay, many times.
In life, there's no one who, we do this every time.
Fish can't.
We do this every time. There's always one person that's done it.
Just
I was like, there's no one in history. I'm going to find somebody in the commercial break that swam against the current.
The majority of those that tried to go against the Mother Nature have failed. Yeah. But would you, I would go
So you just watch yourself like, hey, I'm just going to end my life here. I'm going over with the boat.
No, immediately take something shiny, put it at the sun, blink, blink, blink. I'm going to the back of the boat, trying to make people go to the back of the boat, flip it this way.
You would have all that in mind.
I would be in survival mode.
So your plan is to flip the boat as you get closer to the edge?
You would end up in the water also.
No, I'm trying to give them both the weight in the back.
You're going to be panicking. This is why I tell people, don't do anything. Like we were talking before the show started about horse riding. That's going to be bad. Don't get in the boat with your friends. You're going to go over the edge. Just stay at home.
Al, you don't do anything. You're becoming like a weird
I like
hermit.
writing.
I thought you meant don't do anything like accept your fate.
No, don't go anywhere.
Al doesn't want to go outside. It's very strange. All right, before we go to break, we got to show you this super sweet viral video. A North Carolina principal bids his graduating seniors farewell with a song. Here's his rendition of the very easy to sing, right? Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You.
And I will always love you.
He hit the you.
Yeah.
That part's hard.
I was expecting him to mess it up, man.
That song is one of the hardest songs to ever sing, created and written by Dolly Parton.
Yes, I didn't know that. And then I was like, how do you feel when someone makes a song? But Whitney Houston, I don't want to offend Dolly Parton fans, but I think Whitney Houston did it better.
She said in her documentary, Dolly Parton, she goes, that woman, Whitney Houston, made me a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, I don't think you're offending her at all.
Not at all.
What a way to send your students off. And I think a lot of people, you know, as a former educator, people go, why would you go into education? There's no money. It's because some people love the students and they love doing it. And I talked to a lot of teachers. My nephew was here last weekend, and, you know, I was talking with him, and he was like, oh, the money's not great, but I love my kids.
Yesterday, I spoke to some 5th graders on Zoom because they were graduating and going to middle school, and that made my week.
Yes.
You know, I was like, oh, this week is so hectic, but I did it still, and I was so happy. So I think that that's an awesome thing to do, and have a teacher or a principal or anybody in administration like that.
That's true. We love our educators.
And then Lindsay saying, I will always love you.
I didn't sing, though. I didn't sing.
I was going to say, do you want to sing? All right, coming up on DBL, a woman is sharing, this is crazy, her story of being kidnapped not once, but twice by the same person when she was a child. How could this have happened? We'll explain coming up.
And I hope you have all dreamed of, and I wish you joy and happiness.
Closed captioning provided by
greatest game ever invented. My great-great-great-great-grandfather learned the game from the Chinese.
You can rock these bones, you can start a cult.
Dominoes, Battle of the Bones.
Yeah.
It's such a fun movie. I mean, Barron's incredible. First-time director, he did a great job. Wrote the script with his friends, the whole group put together this amazing movie. Just so many talented people in it. It's so much fun.
DBL is your daytime destination.
Fully agree with this.
We're chatting with the stars.
Have you checked in on Lori Loughlin?
You must have read my mind.
I've never felt better or been in a better place in my life.
I think the director yelled cut.
And talking about what everyone is talking about.
It's a real thing.
And I thought it was great.
I'm here for it.
Why is anybody surprised?
I tell you what, polarizing for sure.
DBL is all new every day. Welcome back to DBL. This is an insane story. She was abducted twice. So unique, this story, that it's become a documentary and a podcast. But Jan Broberg says the full picture still hasn't been told. Earlier, I spoke with Jan, who wants to set the record straight. But first, let's catch you up on her story.
It's October 17th, 1974. The first time Jan Broberg's life changes forever. The then 12-year-old is kidnapped by her neighbor, Robert Berchtold. They head to Mexico, where Jan is legally allowed to get married. During the trip, he brainwashes her, saying she is supposed to have his baby to save an alien race. Young and innocent, Jan believes him. While crossing the U.S. border to come back home, Robert is arrested. He blames the disappearing act on his depression, and Jan defends him. Berchtold's traps had worked.
Jan Broberg and Robert Berchtold had an unnatural relationship.
I loved him as deeply as I've ever loved anyone.
Before the kidnapping, he spent years earning the Brobergs' trust. He even started a secret affair with both Jan's mom and Jan's dad. But while out on bond for kidnapping charges, the affairs become blackmail. Robert uses them to lessen the charges. He is sentenced to 5 years, but serves only 10 days. Fast forward 2 years to the summer of 1976, when Robert kidnaps Jan for a second time.
There'll never be anybody for me but Jan. Never.
The now 14-year-old still believes she is destined to have Robert's child, so she actually runs away from home. Robert enrolls her in an all-girls school in California so he can visit. Jan is eventually found by FBI agents, and Robert is arrested for kidnapping again, but he is never convicted. At age 17, Jan tells her family the truth, writing a book with her mom. Robert denies the claims, committing suicide in 2005.
When we come back, we talk to Jan, who wants to set the record straight, revealing the details she says the documentary missed. Stay with us. Welcome back to DBL. We just told you the story of Jan Broberg, a woman who was abducted twice as a child. Earlier, I spoke with Jan to get the details she says her Netflix documentary got wrong. Take a look at this. Jan Broberg joins us now. Thank you, Jan, first off, for taking the time out of your day to be here on the show. So many people wonder why your parents never took any legal action once you told them the truth. Do you wish that they had, or are you happy with their decision?
Well, they didn't know until I was 17 years old and he was long gone.
Right.
At that point, you really don't know what to do. You've gone on with your life. Everybody wants to put it behind them. This is very common even today, that people don't go back and find the person. He wasn't married to his wife anymore. She had divorced him. He had moved around, didn't really know where he was. And I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I wanted to be done. I was heading off to college, and it really wasn't until my early to mid-20s that I really started to explore what had happened and write about it and call my parents and ask them questions and you know, why didn't you know? How couldn't you see it? You know, all those things that I went through. But it was very short-lived because I had parents that listened to me, loved me unconditionally, and I was one of those lucky ones that it wasn't in my family. It wasn't one of them. They were innocent too. They'd been manipulated and brainwashed as well.
I want to ask about that, Jan. Talk to me about what you call, and which is so true, the grooming process of not just you, but your whole family.
So the grooming process is as simple as becoming friends with a family. I mean, that grooming was all about picking the kids up and taking them to school and talk to my mom, you know, while she's doing the breakfast dishes at the kitchen sink, or go get my dad and, hey, let's go to lunch. And those were all ways of grooming and manipulating somebody.
I wanted to ask you, you don't seem to have a lot of anger towards your family and your parents. You seem to really forgive, respect, and love them. Talk to me about how that misconception is out there.
Yeah, that was really hard for me because the first time I saw the documentary, I was like, this isn't who my parents are. My parents made mistakes like most human beings do throughout the course of their life. They make a mistake, they do something that they regret, that they wish they hadn't done. But my parents were completely innocent. I had 12 perfect childhood years. if it was a red flag, my wonderful parents would have shut it down, put him in jail, or done whatever they had to do, but they didn't know because it's so not obvious. They're so very sly.
That's why he's successful.
That was really hard.
Let me say I have that feeling with my family, that weird intuition, right? That ripple that you feel. What should I do, Jan, if I feel that?
This is really good because I've spoken to a number of police departments and I've gotten feedback from them, and what they told me is the most important thing is to keep a record. Like on this day, at this time of day, when this was happening, I had this gut ripple, or I call it that little wave that goes through your gut for just a second. But they said if you keep a record, that the pattern will start to emerge, and even if it's only 3 or 4 things that you write down, you should file it, go to the police department and start a file.
Right, so make sure you document, journal, take the dates down. And I got to be honest with you, you're saving lives by telling people right now to listen to that wave of intuition. Literally, you're saving lives. Now, before we go, a lot of people who know your story and saw the documentary, they just want to know how you're doing. How are you, and what's the future look for you? How are you doing, Jan?
I'm doing great, and I'm very excited because we've signed the papers to do a 10-part scripted series on my story, so I can tell the full story.
Bravo. Jan, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Really appreciate it, and I'm telling you right now, you are saving lives. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Verify here with your fast fact. The White House is making a push to vaccinate 70% of Americans by Independence Day. Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff tweeted that you can get a free ride and childcare for a vaccine appointment. So let's verify. Can you get free transportation and childcare to get vaccinated? Our sources are rideshare companies Lyft and Uber, the Centers for Disease Control, and the YMCA. In May, Lyft and Uber announced they'll give anyone a round-trip ride to a vaccine site in any city they serve. It's a partnership with the White House to help remove barriers that could stop someone from getting vaccinated. Another hurdle is childcare. The CDC has a list of providers who will watch your kids for a few hours, including the YMCA's in more than 500 communities, for free while you get your shot. So we can verify it's true. You can get free transportation and childcare to get vaccinated. Many of the programs end July 4th. With your Fast Fact, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. So the educator really hit home. We have Henrietta saying that rendition of I Will Always Love You sent chills down my arms. Can I be honest? At first I thought, oh no. I thought he was going to be bad.
I wish that any staff member did this on my graduation day, because this is just beautiful.
Like, he's so confident, too. I love that.
Makes me want to send my kids to North Carolina.
Yeah, it does. Wanda says principals don't get enough respect. That's totally true. And Sandy says teachers and educators are the unsung heroes of our country. We love you, teachers. That's not an easy song to sing. If there's any song you think you could sing well, do you know what it is?
Belle Biv DeVoe Poison.
We did karaoke together doing that.
That's my go-to.
I can rap well. That's
you can rap.
Yeah, I can sing. That's it. I'm not going to sing.
Okay, can you do a little?
I can do like Will Smith. Like,
try it, go.
Getting jiggy with it. I'm not.
Here we go. I'll give you a beat.
Copyright laws.
In the commercial break, Missy Elliott. Hello.
There you go.
Tori, what about you? What can you sing?
I can rap as well. I'm just kidding.
Okay, we're gonna do it in the break.
We'll do it in the break. DBL's do every day. We'll see you Monday, same time, same place. Bye, guys.
Thank you.